Good morning. Today I'm going to talk to you with the title, Ninth Wave, Love and Fear Do Coexist. But before I go there, I want to talk just briefly about communication. Yesterday I received an email comment from, I don't know who it was from, to be honest with you, asking why I did not respond to previous comments. And I answered back, and I'm answering now to everyone. I want you to understand something. It takes me minimum of 3, usually 4 to 5 hours a day to do these videos. It takes an hour and a half to 2 hours, and it's sometimes even longer if I have technical issues going on, just to prepare the video and get the video going. That includes, it does not include the meditation time. If it included the meditation time, add 45 minutes to an hour. But then I spend another hour and a half to 2.5 hours reading all of the comments that come in. In other words, on average, I spend 4 to 5 hours a day, every single day, working on the video. I also do my web page, which takes easily another, I'm going to say an average of 18 to 20 hours a week. Some weeks it's more than that, but on average probably 18 to 20 hours a week, keeping my the community calendar updated. Plus I go to approximately 6 meetings minimum every single week that are on a regular basis. I spend 1 to 2, sometimes even 3 hours a day in prayer and meditation. What I'm telling you is I'm a very busy person. Plus I've been working on my legal brief, which is pretty much done. I haven't printed it yet, and I have to go over it another time or two before I print it, and then get the copies made, get it notarized, and everything else that I do in that process. And then tomorrow it will be being delivered to all of the attorneys as well as the Court of Appeal. So I've had that going on in addition. So please do not feel slighted when I do not make a personal comment to every comment that I receive. Please do not feel slighted if I don't have an hour or 2 or 3 to watch the long videos that you send. I do watch many of the short ones, maybe not all of them, but many of the short videos, I do watch them as I have time. Sometimes I have a video playing in the background where I'm actually doing something else, but I can hear the audio of it. I just want you to get the picture and not feel that you have to have a response to everything you send me. I do need to sleep some, even though I don't sleep a lot. I do need to get some rest. So allow me to be human, and don't expect me to be superhuman, because I'm maybe going there, but I'm not quite there yet. I want to be open to have my mind renewed, my soul restored, and my body rejuvenated, and to come into a greater fullness and a greater awareness. I want to remember, that is, bring back all the members that I've scattered in my soul's journey through time and space, and bring them all back. I want to invite every part of me to come back and become whole and useful for the conscious mind in this ninth wave and beyond. And I want that for every one of you that wants it for yourself. I don't want it for you if you don't want it for yourself. But if you do want it for yourself, it's available to us. I believe that. I know that. It's available right now, right here. Anyway, I wanted to do that as just an explanation for those of you that may be disappointed because I don't have, you don't get a response for everything that every comment that you make. I do read them. I can't always respond. I simply cannot. So let that be an explanation for you, and please understand and allow me to be human. Thank you. Today, as I said, I'm going to talk about love and fear do coexist. And the little blurb that I wrote is, okay, we've believed the cliché. A Course in Miracles and other spiritual teachings has driven home the point. We cannot have fear and love happening at the same time. It has pretty much become an accepted truth, but is it? Well, like everything else, it depends on our perspective. What if we could see as God sees? After the meeting last night, I had a friend stay over and we talked and then wake up for something. So I got my 4 hours of sleep. But anyway, she once again indicated that Osho and others have taught that you can't be in love and in fear at the same time. And certainly from the human perspective, it does not seem that they coexist. And there's a very, very good reason for that. Because from the human perspective, we have been standing on a vantage point of fear. Humans are well acquainted with fear. And from fear's perspective, the axiom fear and love do not coexist is true. Which is why relationships are terrorized, nations are terrorized, corporations are terrorized, everything is terrorized and polarized from the fear perspective, because fear cannot see the possibility of coexistence. Cannot see it. It's incomprehensible that light and dark can coexist. I mean, darkness has to defeat the light from the perspective of fear. And from the perspective of fear, as seen when you're as if you are in the light, you cannot see that the darkness can coexist. You cannot see that the feminine can coexist with the masculine, and light can coexist with dark. You cannot see the possibility of coexistence when you're standing in fear, whether you're looking at it from, in your interpretation, the light side or the dark side, the masculine side or the feminine side. It doesn't matter which side you're looking at it from. If you're looking at it through the eyes of fear, you cannot see the possibility of coexistence. You can't see it. You can't comprehend it. That's why there's so much spiritual teaching of we're going to move beyond duality. Like shit, we're going to move beyond duality. I mean, we're not going to move beyond duality. Duality is the existence of opposites. Opposites are a gift. They are not a curse. They are a gift. Polarization is the result of looking at opposites through the eyes or the lens of fear or ego or whatever you want to call it. From that perspective, from that vantage point, you have a chaotic world. You have the world we live in because that's how we've always in the past seen reality. We've always perceived it that it has to be this or that. It cannot be both. The Western ideology or the Western paradigm is either-or mentality. It has to either be this or that. It cannot possibly be both. The underlying paradigm of the East, or I would say the underlying paradigm of the New Age, is it is both this and that. I am this and I am that. That is the divine perspective. What if we could see as God sees? I ask the question. Well, we can if we choose to. But how does God see? God cannot be separate from anything. Separation, as I've said in the past, is the only real illusion. Everything else is simply experience. When we see from a place of separation, we can only see the either-or mentality. That's why we say we're going to move beyond duality. No, we're not. We're going to move beyond the perception that the opposites are in conflict with each other and must be polarized. That's what we're moving towards. And it's as God sees. God cannot, as I said, God cannot be separate from this or that, from that which appears good or from that which appears evil. When we eat of the tree of the knowledge of evil, we become as God, knowing good and evil. Now, is that a bad thing or is that a good thing? Well, it depends on if you're ready to handle it. And the truth of the matter is, in our human consciousness, we have not been able to handle seeing good and evil and understanding, standing under or overviewing the reality created, the experiential reality created by the separation into opposite poles of masculine and feminine, light and dark, etc. Physical, spiritual. We cannot comprehend that. Humans are the highest, believe it or not, the destiny of humans is the highest form of God's creation, because it's putting into physical the energies that have the potential of experiencing a wide range of everything. I mean everything. Total ability, total contrast. Total ability to experience contrast. From the perspective, again, of fear. I must stamp out that which is unlike me, myself. But love does a strange thing. When you start getting into the God mind, the mind of Christ, the mind of the Buddha, the spiritual mindset, the New Age mindset, when you start getting into that mindset, you see differently. You see from a place of love. Fear does exist in experience. It does exist. It's not an illusion. It exists. It's an experiential reality. Now, what is love going to do with it? Love is going to look at fear and going to say, okay, fear, I see you. I recognize you. You're fear. You are a limited perspective that has been created. And you are experiencing your own limited perspective. I love you. I love you, fear. I love you. That is a shift that is of significant and major importance. When you see through the eyes of fear, you cannot see the healing or the wholeness. But when you see through the eyes of love, that's all you can see, is wholeness and unity consciousness. That's what it's all about. And that's the message that this paradox man, 3:16, for God so loved the world, all of it, the light and the dark, all of it, God loves. And as we take on the God mind, we, the children of God, become adults of God because we are able to love too. We are able to rise above the perception of fear alone, whether we label ourselves light or dark, and see through the eyes of love, and we are able to embrace everything and hear the cry of fear. Are you willing to love me? Are you willing to love your enemy, fear? Are you willing? I suggest to you that we're all becoming willing, courageously facing our fears, and rising above the perception and the paradigm of fear and separation into a unity consciousness that allows us to love everything to the point of transmutation and transformation of our experience. When we do, we experience a rebirth, a renewal, a restoration, a rejuvenation of all that is meaningful to us. All that our hearts have longed for from the beginning of time and been unable to reach except for a few masters and avatars. This is the day, this is the time when we all can become masters and avatars, Christs and Buddhas. We can all become enlightened ones if we are willing to allow love and fear to coexist in peace and see as only God can see, and recognize that we too are gods. I leave you with these thoughts. May you be blessed. Namaste.